Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday Afternoons with Achieve. My name is Ashley Lawson, and I'm part of the Achieve Incentives and Meetings team. We are based out of lovely Cleveland, Ohio, and have just been missing bringing people together. And that is really just one of our greatest joys as we plan meetings and incentives around the globe, and wanted to start this webinar series so we could still see the wonderful, beautiful faces of all of our favorite partners, and also bring together some ideas, insights, tips, resources, and some self-care into the hospitality community. So today we will be highlighting some of our favorite DMC partners throughout the globe. And I'm so excited to have such an all-star lineup here, and would love to have each of them introduce themselves. But today we'll be talking about how to really bring that local touch, that local flair to your incentive programs. Whether or not you're at an all-inclusive or a European plan, there's just so many ways to incorporate the local culture into your program, so your attendees really understand the culture, the cuisine, the people, the traditions, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So Suzanne, will you kick things off and share a little bit about yourself, your role, your organization, and tell us where you are?
Okay, sure, Ashley. It's a real honor to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm Suzanne Behrendt, the Maxi German Director of Sales for AMSA Meetings and Events. I'm at my home office right now in sunny Cancun, Mexico, so not the worst place to be during the quarantine. And well, as for AmStar and our organization, I can tell you that's a fantastic company made up of even more fabulous collaborators from all different countries. Our parent company, ALG, had a vision to create a company that would cover every aspect of the tourism industry. And that includes hotels, it includes individual and leisure booking channels, and finally, our AmStar Meetings and Events family. We do provide service in 7 countries, including wonderful destinations like all the wonderful destinations in Mexico, so Los Cabos, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico City, and Cancun, Riviera Maya, of course, but we're also in the Dominican Republic, we're in Jamaica, Costa Rica, Hawaii, and also in St. Martin. So together with Michael Friedman, I oversee all the destinations I just mentioned, and I'm also in charge of the international business for Cancun, Riviera Maya, with a team of about 80 professionals in my destination here. So this is our meetings and events family, and I started to work with Achieve when I first came to Mexico, and yes, I was a baby when I did extensive sites with Linda, whoever knows Linda. And it was way before my daughter was born, so she will be 18 in 2 months, so you can figure out my age approximately. And it's been a great pleasure, and I look forward to many more years with Achieve and creating fabulous events together.
Thank you. We're lucky to have such a great partnership with you and AmStar. And tomorrow we are actually celebrating our 68th anniversary as a company. So glad that many of those years have been with you guys. And we've got Maria here. Maria, will you introduce yourself for us?
Hello. I'm Maria Gabriela Urbano from Panamazing, from the DMC here in Panama City, Panama. So Panamazing, it's the DMC from Bern Hotels and Resorts. We're a whole company of 9 hotels in Panama, one of the largest. And being like the DMC in-house of different hotels of the chain give us like a lot of experience, you know, working together with all the hotels, and also, you know, part of the Panama that has been since 2000 with the boom of all the real estate and hotels and different venues. So Panama City is a new city with always new things to discover, new venues coming up as well. So we are very excited to be partner with you, Ashley. And that this year you came with a big group. So we are, you know, we look forward that after this quarantine, you know, many people would like to try Panama for sure. and
Absolutely.
discover
Yeah.
what we have.
We had a great time with you. Thank you. Angela, will you tell us a little bit about you and your company as well?
Sure, thanks. Thanks for having me. Welcome, everybody. My name's Angela Hofford. I am with PRA Business Events, and we're located here in the U.S. Right now, we have 28 offices, 28 different cities, and that gives us just great coverage for Ashley's team at Achieve when they're planning special events throughout the U.S. We can assist there, and we started out about 40 years ago. Some of you might remember Patty Roscoe, and now we are really, our PRA is for passion, reach, and authenticity. So we can assist you with anything, anywhere. So it's experience anywhere. I've been with the company for about 20 years. I started out with our Arizona office, and now I am coming to you from, I work for my home office here in Cleveland, and my role is to manage outreach and business development and keep in touch with all of our clients in all markets for all of our destinations. So I work for an incredible, I love DMCs and I love PRA, and I just have the best role. So thanks so much for having us. I'm looking forward to jumping in because there's such great people here today.
Yeah. Thank you. And I know we've got a lot of attendees from all over the globe. So as you heard, Angela is from Cleveland, and that's where I'm based as well with Achieve. And it snowed today. I mean, are you serious? It's April. So, wherever you are, I'm sure you have a lot more sunshine than we do right now. Andres, will you round us out and share a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Ashley, again for inviting me. And last but not least, my name is Andres Cerrato. I represent Connect DMC. We have offices in Dominican Republic and in Mexico. We do a little bit of a, well, we'd like to call it a different approach, a bit more on the higher end meeting and incentive planning, more like big bespoke events. We have our own warehouse as well with our own equipment. So we actually put together our events. So I'm here representing Connect DMC. And for this session, I'll be talking about the Dominican Republic.
Great, thank you. And so Andres was actually in Ohio last year, and we were on a road trip with Site Midwest, an organization that Achieve is part of, and Andres was there as well. And I got to show Andres Grandpa's Cheese Barn, you know, a very important place to be at in Cleveland, Ohio. So I think he gained a lot more love for the Midwest through his visit to Ohio.
It was fun.
Yeah. But just want to say thank you all for being here. We think you guys are incredible rock stars, and truly as a third party incentive planning company, we can't do our job without you. And DMCs are just such an essential part of our work, and really to making the programs a success and making them fun. So thank you. I also wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping for our guests. First of all, we want to hear from you. Yesterday or the other day, we asked everyone where you are, so we can get to know you a little bit better. But since we've got DMCs represented from around the globe, from beautiful, awesome places, and once we start traveling, we definitely can't wait to get back to the destinations where they are. But want to get you all moving on the chat. So if you can tell us where you would like to be in your chat. Where is a place maybe on your bucket list, or the place you can't wait to go once we can start traveling and seeing each other? We'd love to see some of your answers. Ooh, Ann Luketic, who is local here, also had some snow today. She wants to go to Croatia. Kelsey wants to go to the beach. Just please keep sharing your bucket list or where you want to go once we can travel again, so we can all get a little bit more inspired. So Angela, I was hoping you can kick things off, because we've got people coming into the webinar really from all different places, all different roles in the hospitality industry. Can you just give us the quick and dirty, what is a DMC?
Oh, yeah, a DMC. DMC is a destination management company. You know, and sometimes when I try to explain to my family and friends and people kind of outside of the industry what we do, I always say we do all the fun stuff. right? So all of those things kind of outside of the ballroom, but sometimes we get in the ballroom as well. So a destination management company or a professional services company, we deliver local expertise and our local knowledge and resources. So really what we do is provide creative local experiences for your events. So we develop authentic local programs, activities, tours, engaging excursions. Transportation management is a big part of what we do. Entertainment solutions, event atmospheres, so very creative, big celebrations, team building, that's big right now, CSR events, so we manage those. Gifting experiences, program logistics. So in a nutshell, we're a great partner. We're a strategic partner, and we work hand in hand with third parties like Ashley and Achieve Incentives and Meetings. And what we do to support them is just really make sure that your clients' visions come to life. We really want to create unique and relevant experiences because that's what we're all there for, is to reward and engage your attendees and keep all of our businesses moving forward. So
absolutely.
Tried to cover that.
You guys are kind of like the Disneyland. You make dreams come to life. So
every day, all day.
And I know you all represent many different destinations. And for today's webinar, we're kind of focusing on Panama, Punta Cana, Mexico, and obviously your favorite place in the whole United States, Angela. But we'd love to hear from each of you if you can share just an example of an amazing experience that you put together for a client in your destination and really brought the group off site, gave them that local experience. Not everyone here has been to your destination, so help us understand what that unique experience is where you're able to show off that local flavor. Maria, will you kick things off?
Yes. Well, when you come to Panama, or even if you're on connection going to Latin America, people sometimes just go very quick from the airport and they just go straight to the Panama Canal to see it, at least to check it and say, well, I saw it, and then they go back to their travelers. So now a great experience that you can do here in Panama organizing was, to go in the Panama Canal. There is an area that is the platform where only presidents, engineers can go if they are on escort, if they are in a project. So one of the amazing experience that we organize is, in each group, people would like to have a group picture. And so we organized so the group could see it, all the process, all the functioning, know about the history, everything you see if you go on your own. But the special thing that you go and you live it as an experience, organizing it was to go to that platform and to experience, to see all the functioning from just in front. So you almost could touch the vessel going through, and at the same time this amazing picture that will be in the behind, like from the Panama Canal since 1914. So this is something that people cannot do from their own. So yeah, that was a very great experience. People were, they forgot about drinks, they forgot only cell phones, video, pictures. That's the moment, for recording.
And she was lucky enough to have a program we were supporting a client with in January in Panama. And Maria was a huge support to us. And from my planning brain, all I'm thinking about is if you host an event there for your group, make sure that they have closed-toed shoes on. Because that was just our constant speech at the hospitality desk. You're coming to the Panama Canal, wear your closed-toed shoes so you can go on the platform and get that awesome picture.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think our clients would also say one of the wow local experiences, maybe for all of Central Latin America, but there's a sloth sanctuary there too. So everybody Super excited.
So Australia has their koalas. We have our sloth.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Maria. And we're probably going to be talking for about 35 minutes or so with our questions. So if you have any questions afterwards, please do chime into the chat or anything relevant to what we're discussing. We really want this to be an interactive experience. Any questions or curiosities you have for our DMCs or the destinations that they represent, we really want to hear from you. So thank you, Maria. Suzanne, can you share about a unique experience that you've helped to plan for a client?
Yeah, sure. I'm listening to the fabulous things Maria had to say. So this is fun for Panama. We obviously also have very unique things that we can do in our destinations. I mean, I love to set up private dinner events on islands or in a natural cave where you have to bring in everything from AV to catering to entertainment, the little gifts and everything. So that's always fun. But I also would like to mention a program we did a couple of months ago where we joined two destinations on two different coasts. So that is also something we can do and to work on that level of standard and the same flawless execution and proposing like different things on two different coasts was a big challenge, especially when they threw in a private charter through Amstar to make it happen. So that required teamwork, and it was an different experience. After all these years, you always look for this personal challenges as well, because we have done a lot of creative things over the years. Mm-hmm. And to run a massive program with so many elements on both sides of Mexico, that I think that was something to mention.
Mm-hmm. Very neat. Thank you. Andres, can you share something unique maybe about your experience in Punta Cana?
Absolutely, yeah. In Punta Cana, actually, as you know, in some airports in the world, you have these fast track VIP services. In Punta Cana, you have one that's really a clean one. And I remember one of the really good challenges that we had was this client who wanted to just get everyone on these experience, both coming in and going out. You know, the easiest fast track service that's really only reserved for like VIPs or like diplomats, etc. So it was a challenge because it was a mid-sized group. But I remember us moving everything on destination. We spoke to the airlines, we spoke to the owners of the airport. We made it happen for the client, and we also planned it according to timing because there was some limited availability on the lounges, for example, going out. And the airlines have specific slots assigned to them for their passengers. So it was a challenge. It was something that was not easy to create, but that was definitely fun. And it was all very smooth, and client had an amazing experience. And it was part of us delivering that also experience that you would probably live on your own you would want to live on your own if you were traveling. It's not like just hop into this bus and get to the airport and do your check-in. It was all very personalized. So I think that was a good experience.
And I'm guessing since it's Punta Cana, the local flair where there's some Mama Juana drinks.
And Mama Juana, of course. Yeah, no, we have set up specifically for that. The Dominican night is one of the best ones. So of course the Mama Juana, which a lot of people confuse, it's nothing to do with the other thing. It's a local drink that's mixed with roots and wine and rum, honey. It's actually pretty good.
Okay. So, yeah. And isn't there a pool at the airport?
There is a pool at the airport now on the VIP lounge. It's quite amazing, especially for Instagram pictures. You get to overlook the tarmac, and you can actually see, if you're lucky, your plane pulling up as you're waiting from the pool. You don't need to get in completely, just dip your feet and have a drink poolside. It's a really nice experience. And there are lockers for people to change before they board the flight. But yeah, I think that's quite unique as well. That's kind of the reason why the client really wanted that experience so much.
Yeah, see, you come to these webinars for all the inside scoop. I mean, the pool at the Punta Cana airport. That's so cool. Angela, can you share something about where the PRA team has really brought some local flavor to an
gosh.
event for one of your clients?
Yeah, so many because, we're located in so many different places. So like big sporting events, we can do a lot of great things. Once we're back and rolling with this, like Kentucky Derby, some really cool experiences in Louisville. Probably like one thing that comes to my mind is, of course, with Achieve Meetings, we did an event a couple years ago.
Mm.
We try to look at like bucket list items, and Ashley King Dutch is like, we want to do something really cool, really engaging, really memorable, and something that people couldn't necessarily do on their own. So we love that concept of doing that second line parade in New Orleans. So we have all of the musical entertainers come through, like the lobby, gather everybody, and they have all of the white kerchiefs there, waving in the air, and actually go down and have your own private parade. So you are the parade, you're going down Bourbon Street, and maybe you end up at, a great location with a balcony, but everybody's stopping and like, what's happening? And you're in the parade. So I think that's a bucket list, and you still talk about it, and it's such a big thrill. But like, I think about in New York City, you really don't have to be like some superstar, Beyonce or something, to have your name appear right in the middle of Times Square. So it's really fun when we bring different clients there, different guests, and they can have their name on the big sign right in the middle of Times Square. So those are some things.
That's awesome.
Do an event out on Ellis Island in New York City is really incredible. We did for a group a private dinner at ABC Studios. I don't know if anybody watches Good Morning America. You've already seen the inside of this venue, but imagine like having an event there, and then ending your evening, you can have a guest appearance from maybe one of the co-anchors of Good Morning America or something like that. So that's always exciting too. Any of those bucket list items that we can deliver, and I think that's what makes it really stand out when we do something like that.
Absolutely. And I know our clients are still talking about the Mardi Gras parade, and that was years ago. And what a cool thing that we added to it is that we gave them the necklace, the beads, and depending on what color their bead was, they knew if they were going to a different restaurant for the dine around. So as the parade ended, there were consecutive restaurants that people went to that they were assigned to go to. So, and then I think you got to be on the float if you were one of the highest performers, and then you walked if you maybe didn't reach that level for the incentive. But they're still talking about it, so thank you. And I think, just as we think about events, and when we are able to bring back the ability to bring people together and just to really bring that wow, I almost feel like the bar is set even higher now, because people are so excited. People have such high expectations and just are so eager to come back together that now as as planners, as DMCs, we've got to think like, what haven't we done before? How can we really wow them and excite them once we can come back together? So thank you all for sharing that. All of the things that you mentioned sound awesome. Some of them maybe a little bit more over the top, and maybe a little bit maybe out of some clients' budgets. Would love to hear, true to your destinations, what is something maybe a little less expensive that still adds the local touch, whether it's a tour or an activity that you might recommend to planners as we all start thinking about planning incentives and meetings again in the destinations you're at. Andres, can you give us an idea?
Sure, absolutely. And I think to your point, Ashley, I think it's very important to be able to show the destination and also add to those experiences and be able to take it up a notch every time. Because if they're visiting the same destination, we need to offer them something different, And going offsite, I think it's part of it. It doesn't necessarily have to be over the top, like you were saying. There are some amazing things that you can do in each destination. Things that go from cultural to even just like a walking tour, just shopping around, getting to know the town, just giving them some time on their own to pick their own, tchotchkes and souvenirs. It really doesn't require more than a local expert that knows what's going on, whether it's a jazz festival during the program dates, whether it's a concert that's happening that's open to the public, something like an art walk or something cultural that could be happening in the destination.
Mm-hmm.
You add the transportation, you add a guide. It doesn't have to be completely over the top. It really can adjust to whatever level of exclusivity the client is looking for, or whether or not they just want to give them an experience of the destination to provide some perspective. So those would be some ideas. Like going in town, just doing some shopping, walking around, showing them the landmarks of the area, telling them what's typically taken at the bars. Like, for example, Mama Juana, maybe you introduce them to Mama Juana, you introduce them to the cigar roller, and they can pick their own souvenirs. And because many times these room drops, and these are great, don't get me wrong, we sell a lot of them, but a lot of the times they're not particularly target to who they want to bring the gifts to. Sometimes they want some giveaways or some destination gifts for their kids, for their parents, for anyone else, their spouses, and it does not necessarily have to be the tumbler with the logo or a beach bag, which, again, they're great, and I'm sure they're super useful, but when you provide that extra touch, I think it's always nicer.
Yeah. And that brings up a good point. Like, we had our webinar on Monday with Kylie Ray Fitzgibbons. She was talking about really how to provide service with a smile, and her background was with the Ritz-Carlton company for a long time. And she was talking about how in the hospitality industry, we should lead and serve with the concept of the platinum rule. So not the golden rule, but the platinum rule, and really treat people how they want to be treated. And really needing to think more about what do our guests want. And maybe you do have people on the program that want to bring something back for their kids, or maybe something something to remember their time together as a couple. So maybe having like a market during the program where they can choose what the option is if they're getting a gift. But just thinking about how do your people want to be treated, and everybody, and the truth is everybody wants something different. And in Punta Cana, it was a lot of coffee, because Punta Cana's got really such great coffee. Yeah. Maria, could you share an experience that kind of highlights the local flair without going over the top in Panama?
Sure. As Panama is a new destination for people, they like to discover what is the culture. Besides the canal, for sure, there is the old town. So people are always asking to go there and to organize a shuttle. So people like Andres says, to go on their own and to have, souvenirs for their families. That's the place. So shopping, for sure. So the Panama Hat station as well, the Panama hats. Once you're in Panama, you have to wear the Panama hat. So you can buy it on the Old Town, or you can have it in one of your events. We recommend in the beginning. So like people can wear it during the tours, during their stay, to take care of the sun. So those are little touches. And at the end, the Panama hat can be rolled, and you can put it in your luggage. And once you arrive, it will be the same as you wear it since the first day. So this is one of the key things about the Panama hat.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, we were in Panama earlier this year with a group. And we may have driven Maria a little crazy, but we asked her to help us design a rooftop bar crawl in Old Town. And it was the highlight of the trip, other than the Panama Canal, obviously. But everybody absolutely loved the rooftop bar crawl, because Old Town in Panama City is just this beautiful, delightful, charming town. It reminds me a lot of Old San Juan in Puerto Rico. But they had a blast, and there are these unbelievable royal cookies that are like that big, and they're gooey and delicious. It's
a great place, like a foodie place. And a drinking, like for rum, for coffee, for chocolate. So that's the geisha coffee is the one that is famous here in Panama. So even if you are having a meeting, a quick meeting, sometimes incentives needs just a room and a little coffee break just the first day. so you can offer that geisha coffee instead of the regular coffee from the hotel. So like that, you do like a coffee tasting at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Angela, can you share an idea with you for PRA?
Sure. It's such a combination, right? And it does depend on what the groups are looking for and who the people are, but there's so many things to do. I love, like Andres said, like, you can have a great tour. And then I think that's the beauty of working with a DMC, especially when Achieve's involved, because you tell us everything about the group and then we're like, hey, and we really collaborate on how to offer some things. So like you can take a regular tour and mix it up a little bit. Maybe you want to stop at a local brewery, or like Maria said, you know, have some rum tasting. It's not super expensive to do, and it's a fun, engaging activity. Like in San Diego, the San Diego Zoo, right? We have a Meet the Zookeeper experience. That's something you couldn't really do on your own. Or
wait, I think with how big Tiger King has been lately, I think we can go a little deeper into this. Tell us about the zookeeper experience.
You could even be a zookeeper for a day, but we're not going to go all Tiger King on everybody. Maybe in Chicago, like Chicago's known for jazz. So in Chicago, you have like a jazz tour, right? Like customize the tours to groups, because then after the jazz tour, maybe have a harmonica lesson, which is pretty funny, you know, like actually, but it's surprisingly, you know, just people are surprisingly good at it. Or maybe like wine or whiskey tastings. You can do that in almost every city, like Jackson Hole, Wyoming has, we can do that. So just kind of pepper in some of the local experts with your city tours, and it doesn't have to be super expensive to still feel really super exclusive. I think that's key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want more of the details on that San Diego Zoo experience.
I'll work with you on that.
Suzanne, could you anything you want to share?
Well, there is a lot said already. I think to sum it up, it's like working with you in a way that we listen to what your clients want, and work with all the local flares and themes in each destination, you know, from Jamaica to Hawaii to Mexico, or any, like we have so many different experience that we can add to programs. For instance, in Mexico, I mean, there can be a local shaman who gives a blessing to everybody before a program starts or something, or as Andres said, we you know, work with a local artist and bring in somebody who paints your beach bags and puts the logo on it. It's inexpensive, and it adds to the program. So I think it's just using our creativity, listen to what clients want, and sometimes you know, they end up even with more budget because the ideas are so great, you know. But I think we can adjust to any budget and find things that work in each destination. It's just a matter of you know, being creative with including the local flair of each destination.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know some of you had mentioned some festivals that are going on and maybe tapping into them. That's another thing that we lean on our DMCs to help us through, is both how do you leverage those festivals, but also thinking in advance. So Suzanne's team helped us. We had a huge program earlier this year in February, and it happened to be that Dave Matthews, their big concert series is going on at that same time. So before
you just want to come to Luke Bryan or Dave Matthews again.
But before we are booking our clients, we're checking with our DMCs about what is going on, what's going to affect our program that's already on the books, what do we need to be thinking about. So really just that forward-thinking aspect of planning is, you're not just helping us create the wow, you're helping us you know, prevent the issues. Because I know we had our group come in the day after the big Dave Matthews concert, but I had to come in earlier with our with our travel team that was leading the program, and we were stuck in line at the airport for 3 hours. So, and that's fine as long as it's us and not our clients and the award winners.
I'm sure there was good people watching there. All the fans.
Lots of friends in line. But also not the first impression we want our clients to have. So we're always leaning on our DMCs, not just for the wow, but also thinking about how we can prevent any issues, and just, continuing to make sure that first good impressions are always happening.
Right.
So when we were talking about this webinar, we really wanted to also talk about there is such a rise in demand for all-inclusive properties. And all-inclusive properties are fantastic and such a great way to keep your group all in one place. But sometimes you might not have the opportunity or want to have the opportunity to take them off site to really get that local flair. Andres, can you talk a little bit about kind of how you justify expenses when you are trying to do something off site if you've booked an all-inclusive for your group?
Absolutely. And I think it's a matter of, like I said, I couldn't stress this enough, providing perspective of the destination, because you can be anywhere in the world, but if you're containing your own resort all the time, you may as well be home, or on the closest beach next to you, or on the closest casino hotel next to you. So I think providing that experience of the destination can actually pay off quite a lot to both our third-party clients and the end client as well. Actually, we were talking about how the attendees nowadays, Angela was mentioning this yesterday, how attendees nowadays are really well traveled. And if you think about it, we all want the same thing. Right now, for example, things that are local, that are authentic, like mingling with locals is very trendy. I remember a few months ago, I was in Milan, and all I wanted to do was go to a very local restaurant, and experience that. Just sit down at a restaurant where I could understand no one, like I could barely speak to the waiter, just, like pinpoint the menu I wanted and just experience that. That was very exotic for me and very interesting for me. And that's what I did. And you know what? It was a great experience. I think it was probably one of the best meals I've ever had. And I think that's what attendees can talk about. And they will be talking about that for many months, if not years, after they experience that on destination. So I think it's just a matter of perspective. Like I said, seeing it not as an expense, but as a way to add up to the program itself. I do recommend people to start involving the DMC ahead of time before they're doing their planning for the budget, or if they can, even on the creative side. I know that PRA does this a lot, experience design, and we do that too. If you involve us ahead of time, we can actually tell you what we think, or just brainstorm ideas and have you, create your own theme in mind, or your own experience in your mind, and be able to give you price references, so that whether if it's a small budget or a big budget, or you want to grow the budget to create those experiences, you can do them all for the sake of having attendees rave about that program. So I think that would be what I think it justifies completely, whatever expense, whether it's small or big, the experience of the destination, actually living the destination and be able to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Posting about it.
Yeah. And just as we are thinking about how to best support our clients and really extending their budget, we can also work with them. Hotels have been wonderful, and when they do have flexibility, that if we are on an all-inclusive package, we might be able to get a credit for one night if we're going to take the group off property. So as a lot of EP hotels are creating the all-inclusive packages, they have been very flexible. So we've been lucky to work with hotel partners to make that happen, so we can extend the program. I see we've got lots of questions. Casimiro, let me see what you're saying. Give me 1 second. And I love that you guys are sharing where you want to be. Leave it to the hospitality community to be so specific. I think Dan said Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. Like you guys took that bucket list all the way to the next level. Thank you. And I just wanted to share what Cassie's saying. Cassie is with Fiesta Americana. I said DMCs are a great resource, the #1 operational partner for our resorts. what realistic budget, help to think through objectives of the trip, thinking through your psychographics and how to best support what their preferences are. So thank you. I definitely agree with what you said about the sky is the limit with DMCs. As I said before, they're like, to us at Achieve, DMCs are like our Disneyland. You just help us make the magic happen. So thank you. We've got just a few more questions on our end, but definitely want to open it up to our attendees here. So if you've got a burning question for our DMC leaders here, please just leave a note in the chat. Or if you want to do a private question or anonymous, you can do that in our Q&A function too. So, as we're talking just about bringing the local flavor to groups, it's also about how do you positively impact the local communities, and corporate social responsibility, volunteer experiences are, they're not just trendy, they're important. And there's something that we absolutely love hoping to plan out for our clients, and also thinking through how you align those CSR, volunteer and philanthropy focus areas with our clients' values too. So, if education is an important part of our clients' values, and that's where they're educating, or that's where they're putting their philanthropy dollars, perhaps in the US, if that's where they're headquartered, we might want to try to find an opportunity for them that's really focused on education in whatever destination they're at. And it's just, not only is it important that we are leaving a positive impact on the communities we're visiting, it's also a lot of fun. That's where the real meaningful bonding happens, both between your people and between your people and the destination that they're visiting. So we are huge fans of being able to incorporate CSR into our programs. And I know, Suzanne, with Amstar, this is something that's really important to you guys as well. Can you talk a little bit about your CSR initiatives and how you help to roll that out for clients?
Yeah, sure. I'm personally, I've been passionate about this for many, many years, and so has my team. We love giving back to the community, and also, working with the client on ideas how we can do that. It's become a trend. That's a fact. It's very, very popular to include the community in our events, and we usually focus on education and environment mostly. So we've done in all destinations, we've done phenomenal things like we painted schools, obviously, and we have remodeled schools' bathrooms and playground areas with the participants. And so some groups have time to go off property. They have money to spend there in construction maybe. So we've built even a chapel which serves an entire community, but also smaller things. And if you have clients that maybe think that they can't do anything because there's not much in their budget, there's always some possibility, because they can be invited to bring something from home. Everybody can fit a toothbrush and toothpaste in their bags. I mean, like I once collected only toothbrushes and toothpaste, and after the program we went with the doctor, with the dentist, into one of my favorite communities there, and we gave a lesson on how to brush your teeth, and we had kids lined up for that, and their parents obviously, and to get that additional education is always welcome. Or with you guys, I mean, like once Linda brought down a wheelchair in her extra luggage, so, but we did a Zumba group. I don't know if you remember that one, but it was a small group of Zumba fanatics, and they decided one morning of our vacation, we're going to go into the community. So we set up a big dance floor, and the whole community came together. It was a lot of fun. They did a Zumba class, and I mean, like, we're in a Mexico macho world, to say it that way. I mean, like, men don't necessarily dance Zumba. They do salsa, but Zumba was like very weird to see this big muscular guy on the stage there. And I think the impact was not only like the wheelchair that we gave to this one child, it was like for the community to see there are actually people that take the time out of their vacation. They come to hear about us. The local Zumba instructor to the next year until you did this event again. I think they incremented their students in the class, in the Zumba class. There were 10 at first, and they had over 35 the second year, and there were like also some men involved. So I think it was a very interesting impact, and so it only costs an extra luggage and somebody who can donate a wheelchair to make a difference to a community.
Yeah.
And obviously the Zumba instructor. So that was a big asset. So, I mean, but anything from donations to, going into a community, work with the kids, just be involved and care and give back. I mean, you find passionate people in all our destinations. So it's a great way of spicing up a program without just doing an activity or a fancy dinner.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And depending on where the destination is, obviously needs of the community changes. I know we have done, after hurricanes, we'll ask with our clients to ask their guests to bring supplies, whether it's children's clothing or school notebooks, and then you can do a collection drive once you get there, which is really powerful. My background is actually a nonprofit, so this is obviously something near and dear to my heart. I used to work at a social services agency for people experiencing homelessness in DC called Miriam's Kitchen. And we would always beg people to bring toiletry, the hotel-sized toiletries, because if you're experiencing homelessness, you've got everything you own on your back, things get really heavy. So small, bars of soap or shampoo are the best thing you can do. So we'll have, competitions with our groups who can collect the most, and maybe they'll donate to a local program or a local organization to that destination, or ship it back and support a nonprofit where their offices are. So there's a lot of fun ways to do it without it being a massive event too. So I see we've got some questions here. I see. So I'm not sure, Andres, if you want to add anything else. Dan from Carnival Cruise Line said, I understand resorts are more frequently including resort credits to keep attendees on properties. How are DMCs increasing their value to keep businesses to wager against this? Anything you would add to what you already shared?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Actually, resort credits are a great tool for hotels. These are some of these have actually evolved so much that create some good experiences out there. They were originally catered towards FITs, individuals. So resort credits normally service that purpose, but some groups have resort credits as well, and they provide some experiences for them out there. I think if anything, that works in our favor as a DMC, because I would only recommend clients to do a little bit more of the research when they're using these credits, because many times these experiences that are provided with these resort credits are a little bit watered down. Sometimes the excursions are smaller, less time, it's less exclusive. They go and share the experience with everyone else. It really doesn't cater to incentive program levels, and that's something that we can, at the end of the day, provide. And when you think about it, whenever you're doing your research, if you look at the numbers really closely, you can tell that sometimes with the taxes that you pay with these credits, you can do probably the same thing offsite with the DMC on a more exclusive basis. It's just, I mean, again, if the program is just much more straightforward and they want to have attendees do what they do, then fine. But if they really want to provide that offsite experience, really cater to exclusivity and like incentive level, like really treat them like royalty, then I think there's a room of opportunity right there with resort credits that we can actually step in and service for that. So that's how we would compete. If anything, I think it's an advantage for us as a DMC to be able to prove ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Did any of you want to share anything else, or did Andres cover what you guys were thinking? Suzanne?
Just a quick, I agree with Andres and the resort credit. I think the DMC comes really into play when something goes wrong with those things. I mean, when you experience that this was not what the client expected. First, it sounds like really great, and then the groups are used to a different level of service. It's not that they want to be sent on a tour with other vacationers. They want to be amongst their people, and they want it exclusive. They want to adjust times. So usually with those tours, you can't do much to personalize it. If a group doesn't have the budget, well, try it, and we wait for you until you come back and spend an extra couple of dollars to privatize the tours again, because it definitely is a different experience.
Yeah. And also lean on your third parties if you're working with them to think about how can you stretch the dollar. I really think of us as matchmakers, and with that is we are bringing all of the different players and partners and vendors into our circle to really help benefit our clients. So, in terms of stretching the dollar, I also think of how we all, including DMCs, engage our convention and visitors bureaus. What incentives are they offering right now? Can they help extend your dollar so that you can do something bigger and better during your program? I know we had a program in Punta Cana last year, and Shasha from the Punta Cana Visitors Bureau was wonderful, and they were able to help us get a huge dance troupe, the Punta Cana dance. The ladies, I think there were over 20 people who came in, and they just looked absolutely beautiful in their dresses and did almost a half an hour entertainment of dancing, engaged the audience for a welcome reception. And that's because the Visitors Bureau is investing into programs and thinking about, okay, how can they really make the program more exciting and more memorable to get people to come there? So there's a lot of creative ways to really extend your dollar in other places, so you can add that local authentic experience, and maybe incorporate a CSR as well if that's in the budget. Mark from Amstar also shared doesn't have to be budget driven for CSR to make an impact. It's surprising how much maybe just $30 a person going to Walmart somebody can buy, and it's appreciated by the local community. Meeting and interacting with the local school, like playing a game of softball and bringing a pizza party to it makes a real difference. I love that idea. And sometimes resorts, we're working on a program for Aruba right now. So in my mind is the Cuckoo Kanuku. That it's a really fun bus that goes on a bar crawl, but maybe you take the Cuckoo Kanuku to a little store and go get school supplies or baseball and mitts or something like that. So absolutely, thanks for making that point, Mark, that you really can do super creative, meaningful, and powerful things without having to break the bank for budgets. I did want to get to another question that is, obviously we are living in this environment where there is so much unknown. We are all affected in such huge ways with COVID-19. From the DMC perspective, how do you really see local experiences evolving or changing in this new environment we're encountering? Angela, would love for you to speak from your perspective about this.
Gosh, we've seen so many changes, right? And the changes are just going to keep on coming. So it's really inherent on us to stay ahead of it and be really proactive. Andres said earlier, engage your DMC early, engage us often, because I think what's going to happen, we're going to see, we say this every month, but really now, shorter lead times, lower budgets, right? Like we're, nothing like, furloughing some employees and then having a big, huge incentive. So you have to work with those lower budgets, because the people who are there have worked so hard, and we want to reward them and engage them and keep moving the business forward. So I think that's something that we're going to be really dedicated to. So as DMCs, we have solutions that are ready to come to you. But you come to us early and have some really transparent, good conversations with your incentive partner, with Achieve, because then once we all come into that and we really know, and maybe we start with some bigger ideas to make sure that we're hitting it right on, hitting the nail on the head. But I think some changes that we're going to see is just people want to be intimate, without being really intimate, but local focused events to support local folks. We're so looking forward to being together.
Mm-hmm.
Some things are going to be a little bit different about what being together looks like.
Yeah.
So having like catering differences, or Maria and I were chatting the other day about, she mentioned like vehicle sizes, dinner table sizes. Maybe you don't want 10 people at a 72-inch round any longer. Those are conversations that through Achieve, through your DMC, and bring your hotel partners into that conversation so we don't miss anything. So everybody feels safe and feels really comfortable so that we can get out there and get together. Whether it's a yacht charter, whatever it is, make sure that you have those conversations about what maximum occupancy is and what we recommend and what your group is comfortable with, because that's like it. I think too, like supply and demand, right? As postponements are coming into play, we're going to be looking at hoteliers who are busy, cities who are busy. So let's I think we're going to see some more of those second tier cities and some of those destinations that maybe aren't the very first ones that come to your mind as you're considering destinations or activities. So second and third tier destinations will come into play. Whether I mentioned Louisville earlier, I think about like Nashville. I think about some cities like, San Antonio, some cities that may not be like right up there, but are still going to have the product to deliver. And I think that will create also an intimate experience, because I think people are craving getting out right now, and they're going to crave new and unique experiences. So I think that's a little what we're going to see. And then I don't know, Maria, maybe you can touch on like CSR, because that's going to have a different look. It already does, right?
Yes, normally on the CSR, the most favorites are schools, kids, and I think now with the healthy situation, I think hospitals will be now one of the places where people would like to provide all the help in some way. And I think another to add what Angela said, they're like DMCs were preparing for these new requests, and one of them we were thinking was, for example, on the catering side, Angela, you mentioned it. People maybe would like to instead of buffet, to do it more like cooking live shows or cooking lifestyle, like to have the meals prepared there. So like you said, we have to talk with our hotel partnerships and the hotels or restaurants. And also, how are our hygiene procedures? Besides the insurance, now is hygiene procedures. What we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for sharing your insight. I know we are already up to time, so I'm unfortunately going to close us out with our last question. I know we had some questions on the chat and in the Q&A, which I think we touched on most of them. But if you have a question, we're going to send out an email after this with the recording, so you can share this with anybody who you think might find it helpful, or if you just really miss seeing our faces, or there was a great idea you wanted to go back to, you can have this recording with you, and you can just respond to that email with any questions that you have. We'll also put all of our fabulous DMC leaders, their LinkedIn in that email, so you can contact them if you have specific questions about their work or their destination. But to close us out, I would really just like to think about the day that we're all going to be together again, because it will be coming, and we've got to stay positive. We're this huge, big community that is all about service and bringing people together, and we will get there. And I'm excited for when we can see you all in person again. So my question to close us out, if you could each share, when we are able to meet again, what are you so excited to share with visitors in your specific destination? We're all coming back to you, and everyone is so excited about what you shared today. They're booking their ticket to Punta Cana, to Mexico, to New Orleans, to Panama. What can't you wait to share with someone when they can come to your destination? Andres, can you start us off?
Sure. You know, we said it. We hope that you can come and experience the amazing, clean Punta Cana that we have nowadays. It's so nice. I mean, the roads are perfect. The airport is clean and seamless. You have a pool at the VIP lounge. There's a bunch of new hotel product still opening, regardless of coronavirus or whatever is going on. So come and take a second look to all of these amazing places and experiences you can now see, from restaurants to the VIP lounge with the pool, to new properties or activities even as well, depending on where you're located. Second tier cities as well. Now we're developing in Miches. You could also come to La Romana. There's a couple of new properties down there that can also cater to incentives or, you know, all other type of meetings. Santo Domingo, if you want to do a mix. So we're just looking forward to have you again and share with you some of those amazing, cleaner, more sophisticated options on the Dominican Republic or else.
And it's Thirsty Thursday, so the mama wanted us to. Maria, what can't you wait to share with visitors about Panama?
You know, on the news 3 days ago, they discovered a new fish species that usually you find on the ocean, but here in Panama you can do fishing on the lake of the Panama Canal. So it's a new experience for somebody who loves to go fishing. So jurel is in Spanish. I have to Google in English. I don't know, Andres, if you know if you like fishing. No?
I was gonna ask you which one was it.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, Andres, there are, like, you know, animals coming for sure, because the nature now has also its moment. So that's one of the activities for sure that even me, I would like to do it. And Panama, as Panama, it's closer to everything, like distance are very short. I'm excited, you know, so you can visit not only the Panama Canal and not only the old town that it's in the city, that you see the cosmopolitan, and there you see a lot of culture, the food, the people, the indigenous communities. We have 7 of them. So it's one of them. These indigenous communities in Veraz are in the rainforest, and a lot of them, to preserve the culture, it's as they cannot fish as before because they are now in a national park, they need to preserve their culture. So they are organized as communities to preserve the nature, and also they're allowed people and to come so they can share what it's like in a normal day. So for sure, you know, as right now there are not too many tourism, for sure they need
and the necklace that Maria has on
that's from them.
those are from the indigenous communities in Panama.
They need a lot of support, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Angela, will you take us somewhere in the United States? What do you want to tell us?
So many things come to mind, right? The beaches, the mountains, but I think for me, like, I love music. And I think when we have events and we all come together and we can have music and we can dance, and Maria and I were chatting yesterday about, like, to be outside and have a little nature. So whether it's going to these music festivals, you know, bringing the jazz in from Chicago, or like going to Nashville and having a fun outdoor concert with country western music, or into Dallas and San Antonio. But for me, I lived for 20 years in Arizona, so if I could put together my next event that I would like to do is to bring everybody together in Arizona. Let's go out to the desert, see the mountains, and bring in like just an awesome local band, put them up on a big flatbed truck, and let's just dance, right? Let's do, you know, learn the line dance and just everything, and sing and play. And give a hug if that's your thing, or just a good handshake if that's your thing too.
Can we do some cowboy boot fittings too? So we're
Absolutely.
all like, no one like costumes. So
Yes, all of the Maui Jim sunglasses, everything. Let's do it, and we'll hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I don't care. I just want everybody to get together.
Okay. Well, Casimiro from Fiesta Americana is already signing up. So I think Achieve and PRA will be planning this.
Awesome.
TBD.
With a zookeeper. Why not bring in a zookeeper?
Suzanne, what can't you wait to bring people to see in Mexico?
I think not only Mexico, I had the director's call yesterday, and first of all, everybody sends you guys a big hug for your anniversary. So I think every one of them is open to receive your team, and together with the local hotel partners that that are hopefully by then are back into positions, because I know we come out of this stronger and better and more united. I think I just want to give somebody a big hug without feeling that I have to keep a big distance, and celebrate in any of the destinations with a cool margarita in my hand and say cheers. We got this, and let's take on new challenges, new opportunities, and whatever it is we have to work with, we can manage. So.
Yeah. And Suzanne, you and Martha still owe me a visit to Xochimilco.
I know.
Which is, I haven't been yet, but I've heard only great things about this experience. Do you want to quickly share what it is? You'll explain it much better than I can.
Well, it's a replica of Xochimilco in Mexico City. So it's a small boat, 22 people fit in one of those boats, and there are many of them, and you go out on these canals, and you meet other boats on the way which have live music like mariachis or trios, and then there's a lot of eating and drinking games on board. So by the time when you all get together on the lake on all these little boats, it's just a big party. Everybody, nobody sits anymore. Everybody is standing and dancing, and it's definitely a fun night. You have to go with a group of friends, of good people, to enjoy it. But if I think about it, my parents went once and they didn't know anybody, and on the end they were all friends on this boat. So I think it's just a very fun night that brings people together. And yeah, you're right. That's what we have to do once this is over.
I'm coming. Well, thank you all to Suzanne, Andres, Angela, and Maria for joining us today. It's wonderful to be able to daydream again about all the beautiful places that we miss visiting and being able to share with people. So I can't wait to see each of you again one day. Thank you for sharing all of just your great insights and perspectives and ideas about what we can do in your destinations. I just want to quickly share, tomorrow is our last Afternoons with the Chief, and we will be celebrating our 68th anniversary. I always share what's on deck with our Afternoons with the Chief with some costumes. So I was going through my house and trying to find something that fit with each of you. So Maria, I found my mola from Panama. I've got my luchador mask from Mexico. What else I got here? I got my captain's tags. I went on a boat in Punta Cana. And Angela, I found my New Orleans mask. Now, I was thinking about all of you when I was preparing my costume, but so tomorrow we are having our anniversary. We hope you'll join us. We'll be having a travel incentive trivia. So we'll be engaging you guys in lots of questions that we might stump you a little bit. But we hope you'll join us. This is our 68th year in the travel incentive industry, and it is truly the best. And we love bringing people together and celebrating and motivating people. And we can't do what we do without just a strong team and all of our many, many partners, like everyone who is here today and who has joined us throughout our series for Afternoons with Achieve. So on behalf of all of us at Achieve, we're just grateful for you being part of our story, and we're excited to celebrate with you tomorrow. So we'll be sending out an email with the recording. If you have any questions, just respond to that. We'll get back to you. But we miss you all, and we hope to see you soon. And thanks to all of our presenters today.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for
Congratulations.
joining. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios. Hasta la vista.
Bye.
Bye.